Hello children, I'm very happy to welcome you for this week class. Today's our topic is a handful of salt. Our author name is Subhadra Sen Gupta. She is known to bring historical characters and places to life through her stories for children. Many of her children's stories are historical fiction. She also writes travel stories, detective, and ghost stories as well as comic strips. A topic, a handful of salt. A thin 61 years old Mahatma, armed with nothing but a walking stick, marches to the sea with a crowd of followers. Two young boys named Dani and Gokul. In a small village in Gujarat, as they were waiting for Bapu, they wanted to see Mahatma Gandhi. But they were too small because Gandhi was crowded with people, so they got an idea to climb up the tallest tree. So Dani and Gokul climbed up the tallest pupil tree. It was the best spot for a long distance view. They could see the rough village track for miles as it snacked away. Snacked away, what does it mean? Snacked away, stretched ahead in long, twisting curves. To run along the Sabarmati river. This morning, the river lay glistening in the early morning light. No one knew when the procession would come, so the two boys had come prepared for a long wait. They were carrying a small cloth bundle of chapatis and a couple of bananas. Dani turned to his friend and asked, "How will we know when Bapu is coming?" "Well, there'll be something beating a drum, singing and dancing." Gokul smiled and shook his head. "What do you think? This is a show?" No. The village had been talking of nothing else but the march for days. From what I can understand, Gokul began. Bapu will go to the seaside and make salt. Salt? Why salt? Dhani asked, astonished. Burning English goods, wearing khadi? That made sense. Why walk for days and days and then, instead of a big and exciting bonfire of foreign goods, make salt? Do you know all Indians have to pay salt tax to the British government? Gokul asked Dani. Even the poorest peasant has to pay the tax. Bapu is protesting because he thinks it is a very unfair tax. By law, we are not allowed to make salt. We have to buy it from the government. So he will defy the law and make salt himself. People all over the country will break the law at the same time by making salt. Wow, Dani smiled. He is clever, isn't he, our Bapu? The two of them leaned back against the friendly trunk of the tree. The leaves and branches shivered and the soft breeze made Dani sleepy. Any idea when will be here? Any idea when the Bapu will be here? He yawned. Bapu said, "They plan to start early this morning. Usually it's only a few hours walk from the Sabarmati ashram. then he should be here any time now, Dani said excitedly. They squinted eagerly down the road and together held. They are coming! The procession looked like a moving white stream flowing towards them. The boys sat and the villagers under the tree got to their feet, craning their necks. The white river kept coming closer, closer. Leading the way at the brisk pace was a thin figure clad in a short white khadi dhoti and with a large khadi shawl wrapped over his body. He strode down the road, leaning against a tall walking stick. Dani stared at the small grandfatherly face, the bald head and round spectacles, the watch swinging at his waist, and thought in triumph, wow, so this is Bapu? Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. Bapu was also Mahatma, or the greatest soul. He looked like a grandfather, someone who should be sitting on a charpa in a village square under a shady tree. Instead, here he was leading the long march to freedom. He walked steadily, busy talking to the people beside him. Once in a while, someone would run up a garland him, and he would smile gently. Another would reach down to his feet, and he would raise a hand in blessing. But he did not stop for a moment, walking with a surprising speed for a man who looked so weak. People joined the march both sides of the road, and white river kept getting longer and longer. Men and women, children, all were going to make salt. By now the boys were hanging out of the tree. Gandhiji kept coming closer, and then he saw right below the tree. He peered up at the two young faces who were looking down with such adoration and smile. Dani looked at Gokul, and in a flash the boys came down from the tree and ran to join the crowd of people walking with him. They forgot about what their parents would say. They did not worry about what they would eat or how they would get back. Half the village was going anyway. Bapu had called them. How could they say no? So they walked. It seemed as if the whole of India was walking with them. There were also white-skinned British with a metal box that they held to their eyes and clicked. A man told them that these boys took pictures, and Gokul realized with delight that his picture had been taken too. All the while, the white river kept getting longer and longer. Bapu chatting and smiling, waving and nodding, marched on. They went through villages where the road was covered with leaves and flowers, over mud puddles and stony tracks. They soon stopped to rest for the hottest part of the afternoon. The village women brought food for everyone, vegetables and chapatis. What is Babu eating? Dani wondered anxiously. With all this walking, he will need lots of energy. Gokul looked around at the people sitting nearby. Some were dozing, while others were huddling together talking. The boys went close to one group of men, one of them wearing a dhoti and kurta. Chewing pan and speaking in a heavy accent asked, "For how long do we have to walk?" Another answered haltingly, "Well, Sabarmati is in Ahmedabad and Dandi is on the Mumbai coastline. If calculated, that would be about 385 kilometers." There was complete silence as everyone digested the long distance they would have to walk. And by calculation, the man continued, "If we go the way we have started, walking only in the morning and evening, it will take us 3 to 4 weeks. Trust Bapu to think of something like this. Do you realize that for all those days, the whole country will be hearing and thinking about us? Nothing could help our cause more. He is uniting the nation by making salt. He truly is a brilliant man." Just then the boys noticed a tall, thin man coming towards them. He stopped near them. Both the boys and the man looked at each other in astonishment before blurting out together, "What are you doing here?" Gokul's father had also joined the march and they didn't even know. He shook his head. "I should have known you two would do something like this. Well, now it is time to go home. I know it is fun and you would like to go on, but it is a long way to Dandi and it is not for small boys." "Well, you will be going?" Gokul wanted to know. His father shook his head. "No, I am going back to with others from our village. Bapu does not want us to leave our works. There are others who will take our place at every village and town they go through. Can we take another look at Bapu before we leave?" Dani asked and Gokul's father nodded. Gandhiji was fast asleep on a charpai under the shade of a tree. They gave him one last admiring glance and began along back home. Gandhiji wanted to protest against British. He never wanted his people to pay tax for salt. He never fought with them, but only he marched along with his people from Sabarmati Ashram to Dandi, around 385 kilometers. At last he finished his march and succeeded. Well, children, you have listened to this story. You must have understood how Gandhiji fought for our freedom. Let us thank Gandhiji. And thank you, children, for listening to this story. Bye now.